Hong Kong is one of the clearest examples of how geography, history, and economics can combine to create a city far larger in influence than in physical size. On a map, it is a compact territory on China's southern coast, just below Shenzhen, made up mainly of Hong Kong Island, Kowloon, and the New Territories. But in global finance, shipping, real estate, and urban design, Hong Kong plays a role usually associated with much larger countries. Around 7.5 million people live within about 1,114 square kilometers, making it one of the most densely populated regions on Earth. That density shapes almost everything: the skyline, the housing market, the transport system, the pace of daily life, and the way the city uses land. Hong Kong is not simply a busy metropolis. It is a concentrated urban machine, built between mountains and water, carrying the weight of a global economy in a remarkably small space. To understand Hong Kong, start with its location. It sits on the edge of the Pearl River Delta, one of the most economically dynamic regions in the world. Its deep natural harbor gave it an advantage long before it became famous for skyscrapers and stock markets. Ships could anchor safely, goods could move efficiently, and the territory became a gateway between China and the wider world. Hong Kong Island lies across Victoria Harbour from Kowloon, while the New Territories stretch north toward the border with Shenzhen. This geography created a city with limited flat land but exceptional access to maritime trade. The same mountains that restrict expansion also helped create its dramatic visual identity: towers climbing up hillsides, roads threaded through narrow corridors, and ferries crossing a harbor that has been central to the city's economy and image for generations. Hong Kong's modern political story begins in the 19th century, during a period of intense pressure between Qing China and expanding European empires. After China lost the First Opium War, Hong Kong Island was ceded to Britain in 1841 and 1842, establishing the foundations of British colonial rule. At the time, Hong Kong was not the dense financial center we know today. Much of the area consisted of fishing communities, farming villages, and small settlements. But under British control, the harbor became increasingly important as a trading post. The colony expanded in 1860 to include the Kowloon Peninsula, further strengthening its position around Victoria Harbour. These changes transformed Hong Kong from a local coastal area into a colonial port, tied directly to global shipping networks and imperial commerce. The next major territorial change came in 1898, when Britain obtained a 99-year lease of the New Territories. This was crucial because the New Territories made up most of Hong Kong's land area. Without them, Hong Kong would have been far smaller and much harder to develop into a large urban region. The lease also set a future deadline that would later shape negotiations between Britain and China. Hong Kong's borders, then, were not created all at once. They emerged through a sequence of treaties and agreements, each connected to wider historical forces. This layered origin helps explain why Hong Kong's identity became so complex: Chinese in population and culture, British in many institutions, and deeply international in commerce. It was never just a city, and never quite like any other colony either. World War II brought a dramatic interruption. From 1941 to 1945, Hong Kong was occupied by Japan, a period that caused hardship, disruption, and population decline. After Japan's defeat, British administration returned, and Hong Kong entered a new era. The decades after the war were transformative. Refugees, entrepreneurs, workers, and capital flowed into the territory, especially as political conditions in mainland China changed. Hong Kong's manufacturing sector grew rapidly, producing textiles, electronics, plastics, and consumer goods for export. Dense urban districts expanded, new housing estates were built, and the city began moving from a colonial trading port toward an industrial and commercial hub. This period is important because Hong Kong's later financial success did not appear from nowhere. It was built on migration, labor, export industries, and a culture of fast adaptation. The most symbolic turning point came in 1997, when Hong Kong was handed over from the United Kingdom to China. This was not simply a change of flags. It was the start of a unique constitutional arrangement known as one country, two systems. Under this principle, Hong Kong became a special administrative region of China while maintaining separate governing and economic systems from mainland China. That separation helped preserve the institutions that had made Hong Kong attractive to global business: its own currency, a common law legal tradition, an open commercial environment, and a high degree of connectivity with international markets. The handover also reflected Hong Kong's unusual position. It was part of China, but not governed in exactly the same way as mainland cities. That distinction remains central to how the world understands Hong Kong. Economically, Hong Kong is one of the most important financial centers in the world. It is ranked among the top global financial hubs, behind only giants like New York and London in some measures. This status comes from several strengths working together. Hong Kong has deep capital markets, a major stock exchange, a trusted banking sector, and strong links between international investors and Chinese companies. Many firms use Hong Kong as a bridge, close enough to mainland China to understand and access Chinese markets, but international enough to attract global capital. Its currency, the Hong Kong dollar, is also one of the most traded currencies in the world. In other words, Hong Kong's economy is not just local. Money, ownership, investment, and trade move through it from every direction. Trade remains another key part of Hong Kong's global role. Despite its small land area and limited natural resources, it ranks among the world's major exporters and importers. This is partly because Hong Kong functions as a logistics and commercial platform. Goods move through its ports, airports, warehouses, and corporate networks, connecting factories, consumers, and investors across Asia and beyond. Its position near Shenzhen and the wider Pearl River Delta is especially important. The surrounding region is one of the world's manufacturing powerhouses, and Hong Kong has long provided services that support trade, finance, insurance, legal expertise, shipping management, and global marketing. Even as the economy has shifted away from manufacturing inside Hong Kong itself, the territory has remained deeply connected to the movement of goods and capital. Hong Kong's skyline is not just an aesthetic feature. It is a direct response to geography and density. The territory has more skyscrapers than any other region in the world because building upward is often the only practical way to accommodate people, offices, hotels, and commerce. Mountains, protected country parks, limited flat land, and water all restrict horizontal expansion. As a result, the city has developed vertically, producing clusters of residential towers and office buildings that can seem almost unreal in scale. This vertical urban form creates efficiency. People can live near transport, work near business districts, and access services in compact areas. But it also creates pressure. When land is scarce and demand is high, every square meter becomes valuable, and the cost of space affects nearly everyone. That pressure is most visible in housing. Hong Kong is one of the most expensive residential property markets in the world. For many residents, the city's success comes with a difficult trade-off. High wages and strong economic opportunity exist alongside extremely high rents, small living spaces, and intense competition for homes. Severe income inequality also remains a major challenge. Hong Kong has one of the highest per capita incomes in the world and is home to many billionaires and ultra-high net worth individuals, yet wealth is unevenly distributed. This contrast is one of the defining tensions of the city. It can be a place of extraordinary opportunity and extraordinary constraint at the same time. The same forces that make Hong Kong valuable globally also make everyday life expensive locally. Hong Kong's density would be far harder to manage without its public transport system. More than 90% of daily travel uses public transport, an exceptionally high figure by global standards. The mass transit railway, buses, minibuses, trams, ferries, and taxis form a dense network that keeps the city moving. This system is not just convenient, it is essential urban infrastructure. In a territory where roads are limited and land is expensive, relying heavily on private cars would be inefficient and physically difficult. Public transport allows millions of people to move through a compact city with relatively high reliability. It also shapes development patterns, with housing, shopping centers, and offices often built around stations. Hong Kong shows how high density can work when transport is integrated into the structure of everyday life. Hong Kong is also a major global destination. It has been among the most visited cities in the world, drawing travelers with its harbor views, food culture, shopping districts, temples, hiking trails, and layered East meets West identity. Visitors often notice the contrasts first: neon streets beside quiet hills, luxury malls beside traditional markets, colonial-era buildings near futuristic towers. But these contrasts are not just for tourists. They reflect the deeper story of Hong Kong as a place shaped by migration, trade, empire, Chinese culture, global finance, and constant reinvention. Its classification as an Alpha Plus global city captures that international importance. Hong Kong is not influential because it is large. It is influential because it connects systems, China and the world, capital and trade, density and mobility, history and modern urban life. Today, Hong Kong stands as one of the world's most highly developed territories, with a very high Human Development Index and the highest life expectancy in the world. These achievements reflect strong healthcare outcomes, advanced infrastructure, education, connectivity, and the efficiencies of a mature urban economy. Yet its future remains defined by balance between local identity and national integration, global openness and regional competition, prosperity and inequality, limited land and growing expectations. Hong Kong's story is not simply about wealth or skyscrapers. It is about how a small coastal territory became a strategic hinge in the global system. Its power comes from concentration of people, capital, infrastructure, history, and ambition. Few places show so clearly how much influence can be packed into so little space. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.